pop up. Okay, I'm going to say after 10 seconds, we're pretty safe. Okay, yep, we're live. Okay, hey everybody, and good evening. It is time for another edition of Star Trek Radio Theater. And Live Long and Podcast is pleased to present our 12th edition of such a series. And we are doing Star Trek The Next Generation's Tapestry, which is from their sixth season, episode 15, which aired in 1993. Is a favorite of mine, a really great episode that I think we're all going to really enjoy doing, just from a story perspective. Also, sorry, I've also lost my train of thought here. With Tapestry, it is an episode that features Q, which is the omnipotent entity as well. This is a script by Ronald D. Moore, so we're doing Ronald D. Moore back-to-back weeks. We did Defiant last week, and now we're doing Tapestry. And I don't go through all the cast now. We'll go through all that at the end. You'll be able to see that on the screen if you're watching along here live on our simulcast on YouTube and Facebook, or listening after the fact through wherever you listen to your podcast, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and whatnot. So with that said, we are going to jump in, and we hope you enjoy the show.
Fade in. We focus on sickbay. The room is in a state of frenetic activity. Nurses and doctors are rushing about, grabbing equipment and moving consoles in preparation for some imminent emergency. Beverly grabs her medical tricorder as she directs people to action.
Bring the stasis units in here and have them online.
Yes, doctor.
Tell Dr. Solar she can use Ward 3 for the ambulatory cases, and I'll stay here.
Transporter room to Ward sick bay, brother! They're coming in now, brother!
Acknowledged! Stand clear and be ready!
They all clear out of the center of the room as Riker, Picard, and Worf materialize. Worf is carrying Picard. Riker has a nasty-looking head wound and is pointing his phaser as if defending them. Beverly and the nurses rush to aid the wounded. Let's go! Get him on here! Beverly moves to Picard as Worf puts him down on the operating table. We can now see that there is a large scorch mark on Picard's chest. Beverly immediately begins scanning him with her tricorder.
What happened? The Lunarians attacked us outside of the conference room. He's in cardiac arrest! Connect the pulmonary support units!
Beverly continues to read the tricorder.
He's got internal hemorrhaging! The bioregulator of his artificial heart's been fused! He's got liver and spleen damage! What kind of weapon caused this?
A compressed Terion beam.
40 cc's in a protoline!
An alarm sounds from the monitor.
The activity in the isocortex is failing! Cortical stimulators!
A nurse hands her a device, which Beverly places on his forehead. A monitor in the room begins to show a flat line, and alarms are continuous now.
No!
Picard's body jerks, then nothing.
Again!
His body jerks again. Nothing.
His respiratory system is shutting down! The levels in the isocortex are still failing! Damn! Prepare a 4% series!
We focus on Limbo, a bright white void. There is a figure also in shimmering white nearby. Picard touches its hand and then sees who it is.
Welcome to the afterlife, Jean-Luc. You're dead.
Space. The final frontier. These are the voyages of the Starship Enterprise man. To boldly go where no man has gone before.
We focus on Limbo.
Q, what's going on here, man?
I told you, you're dead. This is the afterlife, and I'm God.
You are not God.
Blasphemy! You're lucky I don't cast you out or smite you or something. The bottom line is, your life has ended about 5 minutes ago under the inept ministrations of Dr. Beverly Crusher.
Oh. No, I am not dead. Only Jesus can say I'm dead. Because I refuse to believe that the afterlife is run by you. The universe is not so badly designed.
Very well. If you require more evidence of your post-mortem status, I guess I'll have to provide you some.
Suddenly, Picard hears a deep voice coming from behind him.
Jean-Luc, I told you not to go running off to that academy.
Father,
I told you that Starfleet would bring you to a bad end, but you wouldn't listen. Now look at you, dead before your time.
Picard's words are meant for Q, but he can't take his eyes off his father's face.
Q, enough of this, man.
Enough what?
Why couldn't you have listened? Didn't you know I was working for your best interests?
Picard turns to Q in a rage.
Q, stop this.
After all these years, even now, you managed to disappoint me, Jean-Luc.
The words cut like a knife through Picard. He turns back around, but Maurice is gone. Picard stares out of into the white emptiness for a moment.
He's not the only one who'd like to have a word with you.
We hear voices echo from the distance.
Why, Jean-Luc? Why did you do it?
Captain, there are still people down here. You can't abandon them.
There must be some other way, Captain. Some other choice than firing on them.
If you continue on this course...
Sir, the ship is destroyed!
These are all the voices of all the people you've killed throughout the years.
Whom I've killed? What do you mean? What is that?
Death has made you a little dim, Jean-Luc. These are the voices of all the people who have died through your actions or your inactions. Now, if you have any words of apology or regret, I believe they're all listening. They're a surly bunch, actually, so don't drag this out too long.
Hey, man, I have no intention of performing for your amusement.
It's not. This is not for me. This is for you, Jean-Luc. This is your opportunity to make peace with your sordid past.
Picard turns back to Q, determined not to let Q call the tune.
Oh, man, I find it hard to believe that you are doing this for the benefit of my soul. God bless baby Jesus.
Well, now you've shuffled off the mortal coil. We're free to spend a little time together.
A little time together? How much?
Eternity. Now you're sure you have no regrets or feelings of guilt about your former life. I can't have you whining and complaining throughout time.
Hey, man, if I'm really dead, then my only regret is dying and finding you here.
You wound me, Jean-Luc. After all, I was not the cause of your death. This was.
He holds up a hand and a device appears in it. It's about the size of a softball, and part of it is burnt and fused.
Is there?
Your artificial heart. You might have lived if you had a real one instead of this unreliable piece of technology. By the way, how did you lose yours anyway?
Picard pauses and looks at the device for a moment.
a mistake.
Is that a regret I hear?
I regret a great many things from those days.
Really?
A Nausicaan and a young man in an old-style uniform are fighting.
Oh, wow, yeah.
Then a second Nausicaan joins in.
Rah!
And from behind, a third stabs the man through the back. The blade sticks out of his chest. The young man falls to his knees, looks at the knife point, and laughs. Then falls to the floor.
It wasn't very smart of you to take on 3 Nausicaans, was it?
Picard walks over and stands above the still form of his younger self, which is lying on the ground.
No, it wasn't, man.
And did I hear a laugh? It's so unlike you, Jean-Luc, to have a sense of humor, especially about getting stabbed through the back.
I was a different man in those days. I was arrogant, undisciplined, with far too much ego and too little wisdom. I was more like you, man.
Then you must have been far more interesting. Pity you had to change.
And the pity is that I had to be impaled through the back before I learned that lesson. I started that fight with those Nausicaans, man. I started it because I was young and cocky with great hair. If I'd been more responsible in those days, I wouldn't have needed this heart. I wouldn't have died from a random energy surge 30 years later.
So, if you had to do it all over again?
He looks thoughtful as he recalls the events of his youth.
Things would be different.
We focus on a starbase, Picard's quarters. Close up on Picard's face, and suddenly a woman's hand slaps him across the face. Picard is wearing an old-style ensign's uniform, and he is standing in a standard set of quarters on a starbase. An angry woman is standing in front of him. Picard is still shocked. The angry woman turns on her heel and exits in a huff. Suddenly, there is applause and laughter from off-camera. Picard turns to see 2 other ensigns in the room. They are both wearing old-style ensign uniforms and the jackets are unbuttoned, suggesting a casual gathering. Picard immediately recognizes them both, but he's still trying to adjust to where he is. The pair are both laughing and applauding Picard. Neither one knows that the man standing before them is not 21.
Bravo! Bravo!
Nicely done.
Cortan? Cortan Zweller?
Yeah, boy, she must have hit you pretty hard. Of course, you deserved it.
Marta moves to him and jokingly pats his cheek where the woman slapped him.
You're slowing down there, Johnny. You should have seen that one coming.
Picard looks at her with real warmth.
Oh, Marta. Marta Batanides.
Are you okay?
Oh, yes. I'm fine. I'm just a little disoriented, that's all. I'm all shook up.
Come on, he's just playing for sympathy now. Look, I'm gonna get something to eat and head over to the casino at Bonistel. You coming?
I'll catch up with you there.
You sure you're okay?
Yes, I'm fine. Really, Marta, I'm fine.
Marta still isn't quite convinced, but Corey only rolls his eyes.
Come on, Marty. I bet he's got another date.
Marta gives Picard a wry look.
That's it, isn't it? You are incorrigible.
They exit. Picard looks after them for a second, trying to ground himself in what's going on. He looks down at his own uniform and notes the insignia. Q suddenly appears, wearing a normal captain's uniform and holding a swagger stick.
Attention on deck, Ensign Picard.
Q!
That's Captain Q to you, young man.
What is the point in creating this fantasy?
This is no fantasy, I assure you. It's all very real. You're 21 years old again, a brash young man fresh out of the academy.
Picard looks at himself in the mirror, still a man in his 50s.
Oh man, I certainly don't look it.
Well, to everyone else you do.
So, Q, I thought you told me that I was dead. Now it seems that I'm alive.
Oh, you mortals are so obtuse. Why do you persist in believing that life and death are such static and rigid concepts? Why, I can take your life and give it back to you again with a snap of a finger.
Well then, let's say for a moment that may be true. What is the purpose of bringing me here, man?
You said you regretted a great many things in your life. Well, here's a chance to change some of them.
Picard takes a moment to assess all this. It's a great deal to assimilate.
Change them? You mean the past? Q, even if you are able to bring me back in time somehow, surely you must realize that any alteration in this timeline would have a profound impact on the future, man.
Please spare me your egotistical musings on your pivotal role in history. Nothing you do here will change the Federation or cause the Federation to collapse or galaxies to explode. To be blunt, you're not that important.
I won't do it. I won't alter history.
The look on Picard's face tells Q he's not getting anywhere. Q gets angry and knocks over a chessboard.
Oh, very well. Since you attach so much importance to the continuity of time, I will give you my personal guarantee that nothing you do here will end up hurting anyone or have an adverse effect on what you know of as history. The only thing at stake here is your life and your peace of mind. Now, whether you believe me or not, you are here and you have a second chance at what you choose to do with it is entirely up to you. Do you know where you are?
Picard looks around for a moment and thinks back.
Starbase Earhart, man. We came here right after graduation to await our first deep space assignments.
That's right. It's 2 days before your unfortunate encounter with the Nausicaan sword. You have that long to make whatever changes you wish. If you can avoid getting stabbed through the heart this time, which I doubt, I will take you back to what you think of as the present, and you can go on with your life with a real heart.
Then I won't die?
Of course you'll die. It'll just be at a later time.
What if I don't avoid the fight? What if I won't make changes?
Then you die on the table, and we spend eternity together.
Well, that sounds wonderful.
I'm glad you think so. I'm curious about one thing, Johnny. Why did that rather attractive woman strike you just now? Something you said?
Her name was Corlina. I'd arranged to take her out that day, man. And then she discovered that I already made a second date with another woman. Treacherous. Penny. And Corlina was naturally upset.
I had no idea you were such a cad. I'm impressed.
Picard suddenly remembers something.
Computer, what time is it right now?
16:11 hours.
In fact, Priscilla is waiting for me right now.
Well, carry on.
We focus on the Bonistel facility bar. The bar is a dilapidated, run-down hole in the wall with mismatched furnishings, dirty walls, and the kind of indifferent service you would find at Swiss Chalet. Picard is sitting at the bar talking to a woman named Penny. She is an attractive woman, well into her 40s, and beginning to show it. Penny is a world-weary look of experience, and she sees Picard only as a 21-year-old. Picard is very uncomfortable, and there is a long silence.
You're awfully quiet today. What happened to the dashing young ensign from last night? The king. The one with the winning smile. The smooth talk about the eyes.
Oh, I'm just a little bit more contemplative.
And what are you contemplating?
She moves forward, stopping in between Picard's legs and moving in rather close.
Priscilla, do you think we could just talk for a while? I don't know anything about you. Where you're from, what your interests are, your last name.
I come from Rigel. My last name is Muroc, and I like men in uniform. I think that's enough talking for now.
Penny moves in for a kiss.
What's wrong? I don't look as attractive to you as I did last night.
No, you don't. I think you're a very handsome woman.
Handsome? That's something you say to old ladies.
She moves to leave, but Picard reaches out and stops her.
You're certainly not an old lady.
Penny grabs her drink and throws it in his face.
I don't want your pity.
She exits. Picard begins to wipe the drink off his face with his hand. Suddenly, someone hands him a towel from behind the bar.
Penny for your thoughts? You never told me you were such a ladies' man.
I wasn't. I was a pure adolescent who allowed himself to be led by his hormones, his hunka burning love, instead of his head.
There is suddenly the noise of a crowd cheering coming from across the room.
Looks like your friends know how to have fun. You ought to take lessons.
The gang are playing Domjot with a crowd gathered around them.
Excuse me.
Another cheer can be heard coming from across the room. Picard moves toward it in curiosity and sees that the crowd gathered around the Domjot table is cheering on Corey, who is wielding his cue with professional confidence. Corey's opponent is an odd-looking alien who holds his cue in misery. Picard moves to stand next to Marta.
He's winning.
Of course.
I thought you had a date.
Oh, she decided to leave.
You're getting old, Johnny.
Picard smiles to himself as Corey hits a final ball and a light goes on. The crowd goes wild. The alien opponent puts down his stick in disgust and throws a few gold ingots onto the table. Corey triumphantly collects his winnings as the crowd disperses to other tables.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you all. Thank you.
Picard and Marta move over to him.
Very, very nice. I think you should forget about Starfleet and play Domjot for a living.
Nah, this is nothing. A little trigonometry, some minor wrist action. Now, Baroque, there's a game.
Suddenly, there is a voice.
Human! Play Domjot, human!
Corey sizes up the Nausican, thinks he sees an easy mark.
I think I could be persuaded to play one more game.
Corey, don't play him. Don't be cruel.
Why?
It'll cause trouble. He's a Nausicaan, man. They can get very ill-tempered if they lose.
So can I.
Corey turns to play, but Picard grabs his arm.
No, Corey, listen to me. This is a big mistake, man. Don't play him.
Corey pulls away from Picard's grip. He looks at Picard with a trace of irritation.
What's gotten in you? Let's go.
Picard turns and walks away from the table. As he makes his way through the crowd, he sees Q, still dressed as the bartender, lounging on a chair. The game between Corey and the Nausicaan begins in the background as Q and Picard talk.
I see you found your Nausican friend. You seem unimpaled so far.
I'm sorry to disappoint you.
Corey scores a point on the table and exchanges a pleased look with Marta. The Nausicaan is unmoved and Picard looks grim.
Ensign Zweller seems to be doing well.
He's going to lose. The Nausicaan is cheating, man.
Really? I'm beginning to like these Nausicaans.
If history repeats itself, Corey will figure out later tonight, and then he'll want revenge, man.
And will you help your best friend avenge this injustice?
Oh, I did last time. I rigged the table so he would win in a rematch.
Picard, you cheated? Picard, I'm impressed.
It was a stupid mistake, man. The Nausicaan didn't take kindly to losing, nor his friends. They were outraged. They wanted a fight, so I gave him one.
That's a beautiful story. It gets you right here, doesn't it?
Q taps himself on the chest where, if he were human, his heart would be. The Nausicaan leader indicates his next play to Corey.
10.
The Nausicaan is now running the table on Corey, racking up point after point. Corey is watching him carefully, with anger and suspicion mixing on his face. The Nausicaan scores the final point, and the crowd cheers.
Dumb shot. Human play dumb shot.
The Nausicaan laughs heartily and throws his stick at Corey, who has little choice but to catch it. The Nausicaan scoops up his winnings and exits. Corey's face hardens in cold fury. We focus on the starbase, Picard's quarters. Corey, Marta, and Picard are gathered here. Corey is very upset.
I've played a lot of Domjot in a lot of places. I've never seen balls roll that well for anyone.
So he was cheating?
I'll bet you he had some sort of magnetic device in his belt. Was controlling the balls.
That's terrible.
We gotta get even.
What did you have in mind?
Well, we could do to him what he did to us. Cheat. Only this time we'll rig the table so his device will backfire on him.
Corey, that won't solve anything, man.
He'll teach him that he can't go around cheating Starfleet officers.
All to do is provoke him, and a little less conversation with the Nausicaan is not a good idea.
I can handle him.
What if he's not alone? What if he brings some of his Nausicaan friends with him?
Well, then I guess I'll have to depend on my friends to help me out.
Corey, there's got to be a better way to handle this, man.
Corey looks at him in astonishment.
When did you stop backing away from a good fight?
Look, Corey, we're not cadets anymore. We're officers. We should start to set a higher standard for ourselves.
Corey still can't believe that he's hearing this from Picard, but Marta has begun to agree with him.
It was a good idea, but let's just forget it, okay?
Corey looks at both of them with amazement and disappointment. He almost says something, then finally just shakes his head in disgust and exits without a word. There is a long beat before Marta turns to Picard.
He'll get over it.
I hope so.
Marta smiles at him in a strangely amused sort of way. She is seeing him a little differently now, starting to see something very attractive about this new attitude from Picard. He notices her look.
What?
Nothing. It's just you'd usually be the one plotting revenge.
Oh, yeah. That would be a little bit more character now, wouldn't it?
Much, but I always suspected you had a hidden streak of responsibility somewhere.
Oh, perhaps it's just that I'm getting older.
Marta touches the rank insignia on Picard's uniform.
Maybe these bars are just starting to feel a little heavy. Ensign Picard, and Ensign Batanides. Sounds weird, doesn't it?
It's going to take some getting used to.
It's too bad we can't get used to it together. 3 of us, I mean.
Oh, yeah, well, of course. Come.
Q enters, dressed as a delivery boy, in bow tie and carrying a large arrangement of flowers.
Flowers! Is there a Jean-Luc Picard here?
From one of your conquests, no doubt. I guess some things aren't going to change.
She smiles longingly and exits. Once she's gone, Q turns to Picard.
Did I interrupt anything sordid, I hope?
No, Q, you did not.
Pity, she's quite attractive.
We were friends. Nothing more, man.
Is that another regret I hear? My, we're simply riddled with regrets about our youth. Now, aren't we?
My friendship with Marta is not something I regret.
But you wish it had been more than just a friendship, don't you? Well, maybe you can change all that.
Q, what is it that you want?
I thought you'd like to know that Mr. Zweller is decided not to take your advice. He's in the Bonistel facility right now, rigging the table to beat the Nausican. I guess you weren't that persuasive.
Picard thinks for a moment, then exits with a determined look on his face. Q smiles and smells the flowers with a satisfied look on his face. We focus on the Bonistel facility casino. The gambling center is closed for the evening. Corey is underneath the Domjot table, working with a couple of tools when Picard quietly enters.
Oh, Corey.
Picard looks around quickly, but they're clearly alone. He moves silently over to the table.
Ah, Johnny, don't sneak up on me like that. I thought you were the gambling foreman.
Oh, sorry, man.
I'm glad you're here. Hand me that magnet spanner.
Corey, I'm not here to help you. I'm here to stop you from making a serious mistake, man.
You sound like my mother.
Cheating the Nausicaans could have serious consequences for us all. It's a risk we can't afford to take, man.
You are my mother. Well, gee, Mom. I guess I'll have to go tell those Nausicaans I don't mind if they cheat me.
This is not a joke, Corey.
It better be. Now I'm going to finish my work here. If you want to help me, fine. If not, I'll see you back at the starbase.
I said you're not doing this.
Picard grabs Corey's arm to stop him from picking up the tool. Picard's expression is unyielding. Corey looks from Picard's face down to the hand on his arm.
You gonna hit me, Johnny?
No, but I'll tell the gambling foreman someone's been tampering with his Domjot table, man.
Corey can't even put his sense of betrayal and anger into words. He glares at Picard, then drops the tool in his hand.
All right, have it your way, Ensign Picard.
We focus on the starbase, Marta's quarters. Marta has taken her jacket off and is sitting on the edge of the bed, listening to Picard, who is upset about his altercation with Corey.
I just couldn't make him understand.
At least he did finally give it up.
Yes, but he didn't take it very well now, did he?
Oh, you know, Corey. He'll forget about it by tomorrow.
I hope you're right, because he and I were friends for years after this. I mean, I hope we will be. Oh, shit.
Marta looks at him for a moment. A smile keeps playing about her lips as if she's about to burst out laughing.
You know, you keep smiling at me.
Well, I've just never seen you like this before. You're so serious.
Do I really seem that different?
Maybe I'm just not used to seeing you in your officer's uniform. No, it's more than that. You do seem different. Well, I'm not complaining or anything. I think it suits you.
Marta gives him a very direct look, and that spark of sexual tension can be felt in the room again.
Really?
Why, yes, it's very attractive, Johnny. Haven't you ever thought about us getting together?
Well, yes, I have actually. I've thought about it for a long time.
Why didn't you ever say so?
I don't know. I thought we might both have some suspicious minds. And at this moment, I really I have no idea why not.
You said it now.
They hold each other's eyes for a moment. Then Marta leans towards him. She lifts a hand and brushes her fingertips across his lips. Then thoughtfully moves closer. Their lips touch briefly in a tentative kiss. They part slightly and look at each other again. Then they kiss in a deep and passionate embrace.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Wow, you're always on my mind.
We fade back into Marta's quarters. Bits and pieces of 2 Starfleet uniforms are discarded all over the floor. The camera pans up to Picard, who is sleeping in the bed alone. It's the next morning. A hand reaches out and strokes his ear gently. Picard smiles and slowly rolls over. He opens his eyes and finds Q laying on top of the covers next to him.
Morning, darling.
Whoa.
Picard pulls the covers up higher and huffs. This is not who he wanted to find himself in bed with in the morning.
Feeling a little jumpy this morning. Are we guilty, perhaps?
I don't feel guilty about anything.
No. We're just friends, Q, nothing more.
And we're still friends.
So what's next?
I don't know. What I do know is things will be different.
I'm sure.
Q vanishes. We focus on the Bonistel facility bar. It's still pretty early in the day for there to be many customers at the bar. Picard enters and looks around for a second before seeing Marta sitting at a far table with her back towards him. Picard smiles and moves to her. He puts a hand on her shoulder and gently kisses her head.
Oh, good morning.
Johnny,
Picard moves around and suddenly sees the expression on her face. She looks miserable and has probably been crying recently. Picard sits down with concern.
What's wrong?
well, this is the morning after, huh?
Look, I don't regret anything that happened last night. I can't help falling in love with you. I hope you don't either.
I don't know. We've been friends for a long time, and now I'm afraid we've ruined that friendship.
Picard realizes what a profound mistake this has been. He thinks for a moment, then tries to reach out to her and make things better.
Man, perhaps we should forget about what happened and try to...
I wish I could. It would make it much easier to say goodbye tomorrow. We're all supposed to get together later for our last big night before we ship out.
I don't want to do anything that makes you feel uncomfortable.
We've planned it, and I'll be there.
Marta leaves, her breakfast still on the table, and we move to see Q standing next to Picard.
Well, let's see. You've managed to get slapped by one woman, a drink thrown in your face by another, and to alienate your two best friends. Doing very well so far. The only thing left to avoid is getting stabbed through the heart.
Picard nods to himself. He's ready for this to end. We focus on the Bonistel facility casino. It's later that night. The gambling center is bustling with activity again. Picard, Corey, and Marta are sitting at a table in one of the corners. There is an awkward tension between the three of them, and the drinks before them go largely untouched. A few beats of silence go by, then Picard tries to get the conversation going.
I think you'll be like serving on the board the Ajax. I hear that Captain Off is an excellent officer.
So I hear.
Another awkward silence. Marta glances at Picard, then looks away. The tension is heavy. Picard tries one last time to break the ice.
Well, here's to the class of 27.
Corey and Marta try to smile as they all clink glasses and drink. As Corey drinks, he notices something at the far end of the room. 3 Nausicaans enter the gambling center. Corey puts down his drink at the sight of the 3 burly aliens. Picard and Marta follow his gaze just as the Nausicaan leader sees Corey at the table. Corey tries to ignore the Nausicaans and forces himself to look down at his drink, but the Nausicaan leader moves over to the table and his 2 companions follow him.
Play dumb, Jot, human!
Give you a better chance. Give you a bigger stick, maybe.
Well, me and I don't think we're interested.
They are Endari. Cowards!
What did you say?
Coward! Like all Starfleet, you talk and you talk, but you have no garumba.
Why don't we find out?
Corey stands up and tries to make himself seem tough. Picard puts a hand on his chest to keep them apart. Picard notices as Nausicaan number 2 puts a hand on the hilt of his sword.
Don't be a fool, Corey. Look, there are plenty of other people to play dom jot with. Now just go about your business.
The Nausicaan ignores him and looks from Corey to Marta.
Maybe I play with her. Give her a good time.
Corey cocks back his arm to throw a punch. Picard throws an elbow into Corey's chest, knocking him backward and preventing him from starting a fight. Corey is caught completely by surprise, and he tumbles hard over the table and chair. There is a moment of shocked silence from everyone. Suddenly, the Nausicaans begin to laugh at the spectacle of the quarreling officers. The tension is broken as they go off to another area of the gambling center.
Okolak Resnik Starfleet.
I'm sorry, Corey. He was reaching for a weapon.
He trails off as Corey gets to his feet and takes a step toward him. The anger and pain in Corey's eyes is obvious. For a moment, it looks as if Corey might actually hit Picard. But in the end, he just speaks softly and firmly.
I don't know who you are anymore, but you're not my friend.
The words wound Picard just as surely as if Corey had hit him. Corey walks away. Marta holds Picard's eyes for a moment.
Goodbye, Johnny.
Marta exits. Picard is left standing alone in the gambling center as his 2 best friends in the world walk out of his life. Q moves into view and stands next to Picard.
Congratulations, mon capitaine. You did it.
Picard doesn't respond to Q. Suddenly, we hear Worf.
Can I help you?
We focus on Enterprise D bridge. Picard is standing near the aft science station, and Worf is standing next to him. Picard is wearing a blue uniform with the rank of lieutenant, junior grade, and he is holding a pad. Data is sitting at an aft station. Worf impatiently repeats his question.
Can I help you, Mr. Picard?
Mr. Worf.
Picard is confused by the transition, and he takes a moment
Whoa.
to get his bearings. Worf finally takes the pad out of his hand. Data turns around in curiosity.
This is not for me. You should take it to Commander LaForge in engineering.
Worf gives the pad to Picard and turns back to his console. Picard looks down at his uniform in surprise.
What happened?
Is something wrong, loser?
I'm not sure. Mr. Worf, what is my rank position?
You are Lieutenant Junior Grade Assistant Astrophysics Officer.
Data stands up from his chair and comes over to Picard.
0001100001101. All right.
So weird. Who's the captain of this ship?
Captain Thomas Holloway. 011001100 sickbay.
Whoa. Boo. No. I can find my own way there. Thank you, Commander.
Picard exits to a turbolift. We focus on the doctor's office. Picard enters the office. Someone is sitting in Beverly's chair, which is turned away from the doorway.
Beverly! Something's happened to me. I'm not sure.
He stops as Q turns around in the chair, wearing a white lab coat and a reflective mirror on his head.
Well, what seems to be the trouble, Mr. Picard?
Q, what have you done?
I've done exactly as you promised. I've returned you to the present.
Whoa, so weird. But this isn't not the present I remember. You said nothing would change.
Nothing has changed, Jean-Luc, except for you. But then again, that's what you wanted, wasn't it? To change the man you were in your youth? Well, you did it. This is the man you are today, and you should be happy. You have a real heart beating in your chest, and you get to live out the rest of your life in safety, running tests, making analysis, and carrying reports to your superiors.
Q vanishes. We focus on 10 forward. Picard enters and looks around. After a beat, he sees Riker and Troi seated at a table near the window. He goes over to them.
Excuse me, but am I interrupting?
They look up. They are not intimate friends with this man and are a little surprised to be approached by him. They exchange glances.
No, not at all. Have a seat.
Whoa, thank you. I'd like to talk to you for a moment about my future on the Enterprise.
Of course, Lieutenant. Jean-Luc, isn't it?
Maybe I should go.
No, please, Counsellor. I would very much like to hear your thoughts. Well, first of all, and I would like you to be absolutely straightforward with me. How would you evaluate me as an officer?
They exchange glances. Well, your performance records have always been good. You're thorough, dedicated.
Reliable, steady, punctual.
Whoa, I see. What would you say if I told you that I believed I was capable of being very much more?
Perhaps we should discuss this at your next evaluation.
So weird. I would appreciate it if we could discuss it now. You see, I feel that I would like to move beyond astrophysics to engineering or security, something that might even lead to command.
Frankly, Lieutenant, I don't think that's realistic.
Why?
I really don't think this is the place to be discussing this.
Please! This is important to me. I believe that I can do more.
She gives another glance to Riker, then leans into Picard. Hasn't that been the problem all along? Throughout your career, you've had lofty goals, but you've never been willing to do what's necessary to attain them. Picard turns to Riker.
Whoa, it's so weird. Would that be your evaluation as well, Commander?
I think I have to agree with the Counsellor. If you want to get ahead, you have to take chances. Stand out in a crowd. Get noticed.
Well, I see.
Now, we don't want to lose you. You're a very good officer.
Just not one that stands out.
Why don't I talk to Commander LaForge in engineering, and we'll see what we can do.
But, command?
Well, we'll see.
Senior officers, 110110, Captain's ready room.
Acknowledged.
Troi addresses Picard. We should talk about this later. Riker and Troi exit, leaving Picard sitting alone at the table. He looks around for a moment, deflated.
All right, Q. That's enough. You've made your point, all right, Q? It was so weird.
Picard comes to the awful realization that Q isn't going to just wipe it away this time, that he may have to live out his life as a pathetic, spineless science officer.
LaForge to Picard! I'm still waiting for that statistical analysis. Oh shit, a coolant leak! We got a coolant leak! I'm on my way, so it's so weird that we got a coolant leak.
We focus on the turbo lift. The lift starts moving. The expression on Picard's face is as depressed as we've ever seen him.
Main engineering. Are you having a good laugh now, Q? Does it amuse you to think of me living out the rest of my life as a dreariest man with a tedious job and a bad accent?
The, the turbo lift finally stops and the door opens, but as Picard exits, he walks out into limbo again.
I gave you something most mortals never experience, a second chance at life, and now all you do is complain.
I can't live out the rest of my days as that person. That man is bereft of passion and imagination. That is not who I am.
Au contraire, he's the person you wanted to be. The one who was less arrogant and undisciplined as a youth. The one who is less like me. The Jean-Luc Picard you wanted to be, the one who did not fight the Nausican, had quite a different career from the one you remember. That Picard never had a brush with death. He never came face to face with his own mortality. He never realized how fragile life is, or how important each moment must be. So his life never came into focus. He drifted for much of his career with no plan or agenda, going from one assignment to the next, never seizing the opportunities that presented themselves. He never led the away team on Milka 3 to save the ambassador or take charge of the Stargazer's bridge when its captain was killed. And no one ever offered him a command. He learned to play it safe, and he never, ever got noticed by anyone.
You're right, Q. You gave me the chance to change, and I took the opportunity. But I admit now, I'm way more lame like this. It was a mistake.
Are you asking me for something, Jean-Luc?
Give me a chance to put things back the way they were before.
Before you died in sickbay, is that what you want?
I would rather die as the man I was than live the life that I just saw, because it's so weird.
Q smiles a self-satisfied smile. We focus on the Bonistel Facility Casino. Picard is standing between Corey and the Nausican. He has been put back into the scene from the fight with the Nausicaans.
Coward! Like all Starfleet, you talk and you talk, but you have no garumba.
This time, before Corey can respond, Picard looks up into the eyes of the Nausicaan.
What do you say, man?
I said, you are a coward.
That's what I thought you said.
Picard hits the Nausicaan right in the face. The Nausicaan explodes with rage and a throaty roar. He swings at Picard, who manages to duck out of the way and deliver a swift blow to the Nausicaan's midsection. Marta and Troi quickly join in, and a brief melee ensues as the forces knock each other about and destroy half the furniture in the place.
Yeah, come here and say that to my face!
Then a second Nausicaan joins in.
Oh, yeah. Oh, what's on my mind? Don't be tender. What?
And from behind, a third stabs the man through the back. As the serrated metal blade comes out of his chest, Picard drops to his knees and lets out a laugh of pure joy before falling to the ground.
Honka, burn it off.
Then falls to the floor. We focus on sickbay. Picard, now in his proper captain's uniform, is laughing on the biobed while Worf and Riker look on in puzzlement.
His vital signs are stable! Yoo-hoo, Captain! Jean-Luc! You've been injured, but I think you're going to be all right!
Picard opens his eyes and is surprised at being here. With a final chuckle, he closes his eyes. The others all exchange glances. We focus on the observation lounge. Picard has recovered from his injuries and is finishing a long talk with Riker.
I still don't know what to make of it. Was it a dream? If I can dream? Was it one of Q's elaborate tricks?
A lot of people near death have talked about strange experiences, but I've never heard one so detailed.
Oh, and you know, there's still a part of me that cannot accept that Q will give me a second chance, man. Or that he would demonstrate so much compassion. And it was Q. I owe him a debt of gratitude.
In what sense? Sounds like he put you through hell.
Well, there are many parts of my youth that I'm not proud of. There were loose threads, untidy parts of me that I would like to remove. But when I pull on one of those threads, it unraveled the tapestry of my life.
Riker smiles at some inner joke, probably about his own youthful conquests.
I was just trying to imagine a hell-bent for leather young officer insulting a Nausicaan twice his size. I'd wish I had a chance to know that, Jean-Luc Picard.
Picard smiles and leans back in his chair. He's more at ease discussing this part of his life than he ever has been before. A small demon has been put to rest, and he can talk about his youth with a new joy and pride.
Oh, well, to tell you the truth, that wasn't the first run-in I've had with a couple of surly Nausicaans.
Really?
Oh, yes. During my sophomore year, I was assigned to training on Muroc 7. There was a Nausicaan outpost on one of the outlying asteroids, and one day...
As Picard continues to tell Riker a tall tale from his youth, we pull back and watch as the ship flies away into the star-filled void of space. The end.
Yes, and that concludes our reading of Star Trek Radio Theater's Tapestry from the Next Generation. So I had a lot of fun with that one. I hope everyone else did listening out there. We already have one comment here that said it was pretty great. Adam Woodward. Hey, I know you. Hey, Adam. He mentioned that he might be listening. Adam joins us on our original series rewatches on Wednesdays, and we hope you enjoyed that. I would like to bring out our cast. I think I'm going to start with my brother Jeff tonight because he was playing the lead role here of Jean-Luc Picard, who was going through a personality disorder partway through as he entered his new life. But maybe the circumstances of his life changed how he spoke. So
it was so weird.
So weird. So weird how I went from Elvis to John Travolta. So weird.
Yeah. So weird.
So weird.
Yes. So and you had one line as Geordie LaForge as well. Also, the person you were talking to almost the whole episode, we have Kevin Millard in the role of Q. Here's on the left side there. I joined with our narrator, Ashley Millard, who also played the role of Counsellor Deanna Troi, and that medic that was pumped up at the beginning, and a couple other characters along the way. Great jobs, everybody. Also, wanted to that's the wrong button, guys. Sorry. Oh, yeah, that's how you do it. No, that's not how you do it. This is how you do it. There you go. And then my wife Jane, who was playing the roles of Worf and Penny, but he thought your name was Priscilla, and there was a few different things going on as well. Also bringing in both Michael and Jessica, who were playing mostly the roles of Cortan, Zweller, and Marta. How did we say her last name? It was changing a few times overall.
One of these. You got a Benedict Cumberbatch situation going on.
Yeah, it was the pronunciation was not consistent, but it didn't matter. It was the two friends from Picard's youth who you both did great. I loved both of them, but I think
particularly loved Jessica's stickball playing Cortan Zweller. So.
I thought it was like Archie.
I felt like he was trying to sell me a newspaper on the corner.
Yeah, no, that was great. I really enjoyed all that, and then I think I and then you also were Data, Michael, who spoke sometimes in binary language, which was it was fun. And I was playing Riker and Dr. Crusher and the Nausicaans. Yes, so a lot of growling.
Plural.
Speaking, human. Yes, and I was, oh man, Dr. Crusher. Yoo-hoo! Mr. Picard. Right. So I can't wait to listen to this one back. I really love it. Kevin, you were awesome. You had a lot to say, a lot of those long speeches. Like Jeff had a lot of dialogue too, but maybe not as those longer speeches as much. Which was a lot.
Q always has speeches.
Yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So this was our first episode ever doing one with Q in it. Yeah. So it was very different in that way. I thought it's a fun character because it's very comedic, and that this was I really love this episode and in general in this script. But I think that with these particular energies, it was particularly awesome. So great job, everybody! I'll take a bow. I can't wait to hear it back. So. Any other thoughts? Any notes? No.
So weird.
I think it's
so weird.
So weird. I don't want to be this man.
We got wonderful. You know.
Yay,
so
thank you.
Wonderful.
Wonderful.
Yeah. Even though this episode had some, this was a heavier subject matter episode, perhaps, but it still really played out really well for us. So I think it shows that we do have a lot of success with these maybe more serious scripts with the right energies injected into the right places. So and keep them fun and like we like them. So okay, well then I think we're probably going to sign off shortly and. We're going to then figure out what episode we're doing next and all those kinds of things. So we hope you really enjoyed tonight's read of this script. We hope you subscribe to Live Long in Podcast. We are podcasting multi-times a week about multi-Star Trek topics and shows. It's a great time to be a Star Trek fan. And so Tuesday nights, we're doing Deep Space Nine rewatches. Just got into the second season there. Check that out at 9 o'clock. On Wednesdays, we do original series rewatches with Adam and my dad and Jody and a few others and Jeff who comes in and a few others. So a lot of fun over there. Wednesday night, we'll be doing Arena next week if you with the Gorn. And then on Thursdays, we do Lower Decks as they've been airing their first season. And we're just got through the fifth episode of that show. So we hope, if you haven't checked that out, and you're a Star Trek fan, I really recommend checking out Lower Decks. So, whenever you can, but it's worth it. And then we do, of course, this Star Trek Radio Theater on sometime on the weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, just depending on what's going on. So if you ever have a request, a particular episode, we can always throw it on our spin wheel, whatever, and hopefully we can get to it. Any other suggestions, comments, all welcome. So thanks, everybody, and we can sign off for tonight. Live long in podcast and have a great